Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today we're back onto the grinding through the quests. As you'll be able to hear, I've got a bit of a blocked nose, maybe perhaps a bit of a cold coming, or maybe the flu. It's a bit rife down down where I am right now. So yeah, it's causing a bit of chaos. However, let's jump into this. So to start, the easiest path for this is the beginning with Ronan, then going on to Red Guardian, or Ronan's Storm, I believe it is, then Red Guardian, and taking it that way to finish with the Yondu boss. What are the nodes for this one? So the nodes that the path will have will be you take direct damage, sort of equivalent to your class advantage or disadvantage. So for example, if you go in with a neither class advantage or disadvantage, if you go in a cosmic against the cosmic, you will take quite a lot of direct damage. If you go in with class advantage, you don't. And then if you don't take much at all, you probably take about 40%, 30%. And if you go in with class disadvantage, that's where you get hit with quite a lot of direct damage and it pretty much kills you. So I would say you don't need any champs in particular, because believe your attack is charged up to about 700 plus attack rating, especially on 6 stars. So the key to this is to take in class advantage champs. So really, there are 6 fights and you want to take in a class. I believe there are 6 fights. You want to take in a champ from each class, bar 1, I believe, because obviously you can't get all 6 classes in your in sort of your questing deck or whatever you'd like to call it. So I obviously went with Tech, Cosmic, Mystic, Mutant, and Science, missing out the skill. All that means is that the Red Guardian fight that you come up to is that little bit you take a little bit more direct damage, but if you take in a champ you don't mind getting killed, or who isn't too good for the Yondu boss, then you shouldn't worry. Apart from that, there isn't much to worry about as long as you take in a champ. It's one of the easiest quests. It's quite fun because you do a lot of big damage. As you can see here, my Immortal Abomination's doing 8k on his crits, 22k on his special attack. So you don't actually take as much direct damage as maybe you would do. So there you can see I probably took about 20% direct damage from the degeneration. These champs are all pretty easy. You want to take somebody who can take on Ultron, who just has the evade, but like I said, that's not the end of the world. Like Red Guardian, for example, if you bring in Falcon, who can counter evade, then for the Ultron fight, he might take a lot of direct damage, but Ultron won't evade, so therefore that fight is quicker than it would be if you took in a Cosmic champ and he gets evaded. However, I didn't sort of go that way. Made sure that I took in all 6 stars, so they had that extra attack rating, and then and managed to sort of fly through these fights quite easily. They are quite easy fights. As I said, the nodes aren't too difficult. It's just the direct damage that you take, but you also can get that Fury on if you have a class advantage, I believe it is. So yeah, just take in champs who have class advantage, and then this really shouldn't be too much of a worry for you. High damaging champs can also help, or champs who are likely to crit. Shang-Chi, for example, probably shreds through this with the extra attack rating. But as you can see, along this path, none of the defenders are very difficult. You should really fly to the boss, and that's where we'll get to next. So as you can see, I sort of take out. This has been a really quick quest, although I have sped it up a little bit for you guys watching, because it is very simple. It's very repetitive. You just take in a class advantage and you go with it. I've taken out Immortal Abomination because I found it relatively easy. Everyone with full health may as well get that. Always use that character select if you can. Gives you a new champ with full health. I bought in Null because he obviously has reduced bleed, and Yondu obviously does bleed through the block. Apart from that, this boss is again relatively relatively easy. You just want to keep him to his SP1. It's easy to evade. His SP2 does a lot more damage, especially through the block. Whereas if you just keep coming in and out, evading that SP1, baiting it, making sure he throws it. I was quite lucky, really. He got quite trigger happy with the SP1, just started chucking it very, very, very often as soon as he got it, basically. So it made this fight a lot easier for me. However, I do trip up. As you'll see, some of these aren't the cleanest fights in the world, but I do eventually trip up, and Galen gets taken down. However, like I said, this Yondu boss, it's not too tricky. He has a few nodes on there, like super masochism. So if you put a bleed or a poison or literally any damage and debuff on him, he purifies it, gets 5%. As you can see there, I stunned him by accident. He took a lot of that regeneration back, it regenerated a lot of his health back, sorry. So you just want to take in somebody who doesn't do many damage and debuffs. That's why I took out Immortal Abomination. Even Warlock, as long as you don't parry them, they won't get that stun debuff, so that also makes them regenerate. It's obviously just masochism, but with a lot more regeneration and a lot more sort of damage and debuffs that it purifies. But as I said, don't try not to parry him. Don't take in a champ who does a lot of damage and debuffs. Any of the rupture, bleed, poison, cold snap, just any of them, and then keep him to his SP1. It makes this fight much easier. Try and intercept, because that gives you a passive fury. That's one of the other nodes. Foresight, if you intercept one of his basic attacks, you get a fury. And then he's also got rich get richer, so whoever's got the most buffs, as we all know from the last Battlegrounds meta, whoever has the most buffs on them gains sort of passive power, so makes it a lot easier. However, as you'll see, I hardly needed that, because if you keep him to his SP1, it just means he throws them a lot more often. But as I said, try and avoid that SP2. That's basically it for this video. It's a relatively easy quest. Hope it helped. We're back on the sort of Act 7 grind now, so you'll see a few more of these videos. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Have a good day. Goodbye.